inspection, it goes as smooth as possible. And if you have questions, raise your hand. If you need to call the fire department, phone numbers in the book, don't do the 911 thing because they get a little irritated with this kind of question. But give us a call. We're happy to answer questions and work through situations before they become problems. Every space needs exits. That's pretty obvious, right? If you get in, you got to get out. If you have more than 50 people in a space, you need to have 2 exits. Like I pointed out in the beginning, we got 1 on each side. Okay, they have to be clear and accessible, maintained. The door has to swing in the direction of egress. What that means is if you're inside the space, you can't stop at the door and back up. You have to swing out. That makes it an exit door. That makes the transition easier so that in a panic, which is what we have to look at, in a panic situation, we don't need people piling up on each other. Opening force of 15 pounds or less. That's not a lot of push. But anyone that's bought a 10-pound bag of sugar, that's 10 pounds. That's not a lot of weight. 15 pounds is not much more than that to swing a door open. Just some examples of doors. We all know what a door looks like. But we tend to run into some problems. Now, the red ball is a traveling ball. It's an art exhibit. We work with them. That does block their exit. But we also work with them so that they temporarily do that. Now, the other structure, that's obviously an exit. We weren't informed of that until we found it on inspections. This one here, there's a stair tower that comes down the back side of the building. But you can see right here, because it's working with us, they made accommodations so that people can still exit the building out that stair tower. These are things you're going to have to be aware of. We're human beings. Wherever we have a little bit of space, we're going to store something. If someone comes running up to that door in a hurry, they're not going to really have a lot of time to push the car out of the way. And if they run out that back door and trip over the chair, fall down the stairs, then the rest of the crowd will go over the walks on them. People are getting hurt, killed, injured. When we have a large group of people coming in and need some extra space, we like to store stuff. Store and exit. All awareness. So, like this one. They dressed up the exit door, put a little flower in front of it. Don't work so well like that. But we never use that door. Yeah, it might. This is just an encumbrance in the public way. The public way, for clarification, is anywhere from that door to the street. Okay? That's where people can get away from the building and we can get in and access the property. When you push on the door, you shouldn't have to lean into the door. It should just push open. And before any show goes on, before you open for business in the day, it's always a good idea to walk around and check all your doors, because you never know who might have parked too close or put a dumpster too close to the door. These are real pictures that we've taken over the years to show what happens and what we look for. Hardware. When you have an assembly, when you have over 100 people in a building, you need panic hardware. Everybody knows what panic hardware is, right? That's a good example of a couple of them. Most businesses will have handles like this. What we're looking for is single motion and go. When you walk up to the door, you've got to be able to turn the handle and walk out the door. If you have a deadbolt and a handle, that's 2 motions. If they're interlocked together, where we can turn the handle, the deadbolt disables, that's 1 motion. Okay? If you have a deadbolt, you can put on something like this on your main entrance. It shows whether it's open or locked. This one's a kind of neat deal. That's a regular handle. When you lift up on the handle, the deadbolt comes out. When you push down on the handle, the deadbolt comes back. It's a pretty safe door. If you do have indicator locks, you have to put a sign on the door to indicate that it must be unlocked anytime the business is open. If you have security issues, there are ways around that. Hand fire with an alarm. This is not a good way to secure a door. What happens here, this lock this lock, they both get forgotten when the business is open. Then, in that panic situation, they can't get out. People will pile up. And that actually happened in Chicago. I think it was about 6 months to a year before the Rhode Island incident. There was a dance club on the second floor. The secondary exits were all chained because it was a security issue. People got trampled out trying to go out the main door. They couldn't get out the second one. If you have more than one lock on a door, it has to go. Okay. Bars on the door, obviously not acceptable. It might be one motion, but we've got an object. This is two motions. And this one, unless you know what the town is to get out your exit, you're not getting out. If it's an exit, it has to be accessible for anyone. Exit signs, you have to have exit signs above your exits. They have to be illuminated. In other words, they have to be lit. Some exit signs are self-illuminating, like glow in the dark. But those are UL approved signs, not just go to the store and buy a glowing sign. They'll have a little UL symbol on the bottom or FM symbol on the bottom. Okay? They need to be legible and clearly seen so that you can see them wherever you're at. These are some examples of one that's lit and unlit. I know most of the time you probably don't look at your exit signs, but what we're trying to do is raise your awareness to that level of, you're doing your business, and that's fine, but you need to be aware of what your business is in the building and how well it's taken care of. This is a good example of an exit door and how to keep it clear. If you have a problem with people piling stuff up in front of your exit, little crosshatch, yellow, it's just a reminder. It's not going to stop them. You do have to actually tell them to knock it off. Another good example of an exit door with an exit sign. When we come in, we're going to test the exit signs. If they work, great. If they do not, then you'll have to repair it. This one is not working. When you push the test button, it should light up. It should be lit before you push the test button, like these are here. But if you push the test button, there's another set of lights in there and a battery. That's what you're testing. Push that button, if it goes dark, you need to get it to service. That is a sign that says exit. That is not an exit sign. Just like that. Anybody see a problem with this one? This is actually a good sign. Why? Because the video I showed you in the beginning where it was a smoke, it goes all the way down to here. And if you're crawling to get out in a hurry, you've got to be able to see where the exit is. Las Vegas started putting them in after MGM's fire. Okay, egress illumination. That means emergency light. We have one up here. Got another one back there. You need to illuminate all the way out to the public way, which we've already established that's to the street or sidewalk or sidewalk. We're going to test them. How do you test them? There's a little test button on them. You reach up, push the button, they either light or they don't. When you test them, if you're going to test them yourself, push the button and hold on to it. Count to 30. Why? Because that gives the battery a chance to discharge just enough that it will recharge. These are what some of the ones on the outside look like. Have you ever seen them on the outside of a building? That's what they look like. If you see something like this, that's obviously broken. It needs to be fixed. When we come in, we'll require that to be done. If you've done some painting recently, make sure they're all uncovered. They won't work if they're covered. Now this is an exit or an emergency light. It functions, but it doesn't function well because of the position of the heads. Up near the ceiling, so this one's shining across the ceiling and that one's shining up at the ceiling. We need emergency light at the floor level. The heads need to be turned down to illuminate the paths of egress. On that note, one thing we're going to check for